throw things into the Q&A. We'll kind of talk through that a little bit as some of those we may answer as we go or keep them to the end, whatever that looks like. So we'll go ahead and kick off. If we haven't chatted before, my name is Shannon. I work in customer success here in Curate. We're joined by Brooklyn, who is on our product team. So she has a direct connection to all of these things that we will be talking about today. Super stoked to talk to you about everything. Um, just a reminder, like I said, throw things into the Q&A. We've already got some things that are coming in here, which is awesome. Um, you're going to get a follow-up email with the recording of our call today. So if you want to share it with your team or something like that, and we're going to send over some resources there as well. But while you're talking, be sure to tell us if you see something that you're really excited about or you really love. We love sharing those reactions with our team. Everybody's working really hard to try to meet those features that people are requesting. Everything that we do is product led. And so, or I'm sorry, customer led. So it's really important that we listen to our customers and kind of help our customers with what they're looking for. So we're going to jump in. I see that a couple of questions that come in. I'll start with Sarah's question really quickly. Sarah said, does the Google Calendar integration sync automatically when event status changes to booked? That's a great question, Sarah. Right now in the updated interface, it does not sync automatically. I see some more coming in. It does not sync automatically whenever an event status changes to booked. But I will say that that will happen in the future. Right now, you want to select that event and sync that to Google Calendar, but we're doing some really cool updates in that area that I think you're going to really like. It's a lot more flexible than the solutions that we had in Curate Classic. So I will say that's something that is coming soon. I'm going to read over the other questions that have come through, Brooklyn. We're going to start with Brooklyn showing off a few things. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to her.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. So we're gonna start. Let me share my screen, and then we're gonna cover a few updates around the event. So just one moment. This should share correctly. All right. Okay, I think it's working. So, all right, so we'll start with an update that's been highly requested. If you've been in the app recently, you've probably noticed it, but if you haven't, we're excited to go over an update that will save you a few clicks on getting into the event itself. And so now you can click directly into the event. If you remember prior, kind of went into an overview page, and then you would click in to go into the workroom. So by clicking an event on your events list, it'll now take you directly into the workroom. But don't worry, all those important details are still saved. They're just accessed from a different area now. So you'll find those event details by going up to the corner here. You'll notice in the top corner, there's this little overview icon. If you click that button, it will pop open a slide out, and then you'll see all those important event details that you previously had as like kind of an in-between step to get to the workroom. So this is just making the navigation a little bit more intuitive. It's all in one convenient place. You can, access these details while you are in the workroom. So you can easily glance back and forth as you build out your event. And then another update to this area with your event overview is going to be now making notes on the actual event. So this is
Yes.
really exciting. You'll now see there's a note tab at the top among your other details. There also will be a little bubble here to indicate how many notes are saved on your event. So if I click over here, you'll see there's some different notes that we've added to show off. You can create the notes, you can save the notes. They're time stamped. if Shannon and I had added some notes prior to the month of May, it would have also been grouped by month. So if you have kind of a long history of notes, it'll be easier for you to track that over a period of time. They're displayed also in a collapsible format. So if you have a lot of notes and you want to kind of quickly scroll through, you can open or close them just to make viewing easier. And they're also going to be tied to who the Curate user is. So you can see here the note, these two were left by me, but Shannon left this top one. So that'll just be easy for team communication too, to kind of know who was leaving the note. And then you'll be able to see these notes here. You can edit them. So if you made a mistake and you want to go in and add something that you forgot, or you had a typo, you can easily do that and then resave it, or you can delete a note. Um, and then you'll notice that that's only on the notes that you created. So I cannot go in and edit or delete a note from Shannon. But creating the note is super simple. You just go up to the top. You'll have this little text box area where you can add some formatting if you want to organize your notes a bit better. So you can kind of use the toolbar there to create those notes, and then you would just hit save. So we're really excited about this. I know there's a lot of notes that probably get taken along the planning process of your all's events. So this will just help keep everything in one space for you, and just organize any important details that need to be added in. And then I will say also these notes are internal, if that wasn't, I guess clear, but these are just internal like team notes that you all can save on the event for yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I was actually just I was showing this off to somebody this morning, a customer this morning, and they were super stoked because they loved how they could say, okay, this is why we published to version 3. This was the difference between version 3 and version 4, as well as that they could see exactly who left that note. That was really exciting that those records were tied to that user. So it made it really easy for knowing what sort of changes or things happened on that. So I love it. I love this update. And with our new update, that it's accessible from the event dashboard. You don't even have to go into the event. You can just click on the slide out and see it in the event dashboard.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
true.
It's so good.
Yeah, so lots of exciting things here around the event itself. We also, I guess, on the topic of notes, we also have notes with our contacts. So I will switch over and just go through this with you all. If you're in your contacts folder, you can now create notes on a particular contact. So let me click into someone here. Let's click on Allie. So I'm looking at Allie Watson. There is a notes tab now among the other tabs that you all have access to. With clicking into notes, it's the same concept that you just saw on the event, but sometimes you all might want to leave notes in, for a particular contact. These notes might just be, I guess geared towards their event. Maybe this is a contact that's a long-standing customer of yours. They have set preferences. You want to make sure maybe they have dietary needs that you want to be aware of if you book an event with them in the future. All sorts of things that you can add in around the contact. But again, just another update to help your team stay organized. It's going to be the same type of format that you saw on the event. So it is going to be collapsible here. You can again edit if other teammates are leaving notes, it will indicate what Curate user did leave the note as well. You can create the note by clicking the button up at the top, and then you can format it again as well. So just an extra note-taking space here on the contact, because sometimes those contact notes are going to be quite different than maybe if it was directly on the event itself. So yeah, we're excited about that. There's some other updates as well around the contacts. And so another update with our contacts is going to be able to associate contacts with other contacts. So a lot of times, folks might work directly with like a corporation and there's several contacts associated to that corporation. So this is just an easy way, or if you work at, your preferred vendor at a certain venue, maybe you work a lot with other preferred vendors at that venue. It's just an easy way to connect the dots in the system. So let's click into Hallmark here. If we click into Hallmark Corporate, you'll be able to click into the Contacts tab at the top. And then from here, you'll be able to associate a contact. So you can see we have Robert here already as an associated contact. But if I wanted to add an additional contact, it's as easy as clicking this button over on the right. We'll click down to associate contact. This will pull up the contacts that are in your contact folder. And so if we want to include someone else, maybe we want to include Jesse here, I will associate this contact, and then Jesse will now live under Hallmark Corporate. The neat thing is that if you click into those folks, so if we go back, if we remember, Robert here was associated to Hallmark. If I click into Robert and go to his contacts tab, it'll show Hallmark there as well. So it shows on both ends of it. You can associate a company to contact. You know, this person, Hallmark is labeled as a company, so you can associate however you see fit that works with your workflow within the contacts folder between contact and contact or company and contact. And so forth. So that is an exciting update as well that we have kind of going on in the contacts folder here. And then lastly is if you were to add a contact to your contact folder here, you can now select them as a venue. So we know that a lot of times you have favorite venues that you work with quite often in your area. And so what you can do is if you are creating a contact, you can now check them as a venue. And so this is just going to save some extra steps when you go to create an event. So if I create an event here, let's say that this is Sarah's wedding, and then we are going to, let's see if I have anyone named Sarah. We don't, so maybe I should say this is Julie's wedding just to stay accurate here. So Julie's wedding, we have Julie here as our customer. And then what I can do now is I can select a venue, and you'll see I have a few in my contact folder labeled as a venue. So select your favorite. So we can select the Carmel room here. Let me enter a date. So we'll say it's in July. And then when I create this and it's associated to the Carmel room for my contact folder, what that will do now is when I go to my event overview, that information will populate over here for me. So it saves me a step of having to go and retype that information around the location and the address and so forth. So that'll just help speed up some time by saving those venues. And then you can just simply select them as you're creating the event. So yeah, we've got some exciting updates here. We have a few more to go over, quite a bit actually, over the last month or so, some exciting things. So I'm going to pass it back to Shannon to keep it going with covering what's next.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'm going to jump back into the proposal. So here in the proposal, we've got a few things that I want to cover. So one thing to note here, if you are a user of AI Assist, so that basically is that access to Chat GPT right here within Curate. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't really link to anything that's about your data, but makes it very easy to access Chat GPT directly from within the system. That is now available right there within the workroom as well. So say that you want to throw something in here, like I want to get a brief description. Let me put that in here. Write brief, fun description of a retro wedding. It's just some sort of like verbiage that I want to include on my my details right here so that they can see that. And so I'll say make it shorter. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Chat GPT. Go make it shorter. I had a fun one earlier. I should have grabbed my prompt from that one. Okay, so this is cute. I'm going to go in here. I've got my answer, and now I'm just going to throw this text in here, which is just like a fun little chat through of the information. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so putting something in there, just something quick to put something fun together, and you can ask a lot of things to ChatGPT. It can do a lot of things for you, can do some math, but you just want to be careful that you're doing the right thing, but it could do a lot. But now that it's accessible right here in the workroom so that you can utilize that as you're building out your quotes, I'm going to hop over to the orders tab. I've got my list over here so I don't miss anything. The first one is going to be Amy's feature. It's a request from one of our customers named Amy. So in here, say that we have something, I included something called bar service. And so it's a bartender for 2 hours at $100 per hour. I just want to show this to my customer so that they can see what that is. We'll say that they come back and they say, oh, actually, we need it for um, 3.5 hours. You know, you want to put something like that in there. You want to update that number. Well, previously you were only able to ever put whole numbers for quantities, but now you can put partial quantities into the system. So it will accept that quantity, do that math appropriately right there. So such a small feature, but it can be really impactful in how you're working and how you can utilize that. There could be a lot of things, a lot of ways that you can use that. This is one example that we see there. The other one that was highly requested, so I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people, is I put the bar service here in the reception, but actually I think I'm going to move it to this fees section right here. So I'm going to click on the icon, I'm going to click edit, and then you can see I can move what section that's going to go to. So I'm going to move that to the fees section. Now I love that bulk edit box. There's a lot that you can do in that box there. So now I've got that moved down to that lower section, and I'm actually going to call this section fees and services right there. So now I've got that included there. So we were able to move that one in between the sections. Okay. The next one is a smaller feature, but I do think it was impactful. If I open up this bar service, we did a little rearranging in here so that it's emphasizing the things that are more important. The product name is up here at the top, the description is beneath that. Then we've got the quantity and the unit price that are showing. And then the kind of the lesser important things as you go down into the slide out. But you can see that we just did a little bit of rearranging here to make it a little bit more user friendly. The things that you're going to be touching the most, we want to make those the most prominent right there. And then the last item I think that I'm going to hit right here is the rentals. So for rentals, you can see that I can click this import from catalog right here, and we have rental items that are going to display. So you can pull those in as a line item right here. What we just updated, I'm going to go to the recipe view to show this off actually. What we just updated was the ability to pull that in from this import from catalog button right here. So I'm going to go down to the bar services down here at the bottom. And I'm actually going to pull a rental item in behind bar service, and I'm going to include that in here. So it's pulling everything that I've already used on this one up to the top, but I want the mobile bar. So I'm going to include this into my recipe, and I'm just going to make an update right here. Um, and we're going to take away this bartender, but we're going to say bartender for 3.5 hours and a black mobile bar. Okay, it's giving us a recommended price of $3.95 right here. I'm sorry, of $7.90, but I'm just going to override this one. I'm going to say this is going to be $1,000 all inclusive. We're going to just make this a package. Okay, so now you can access those. That was a big one. You can now pull those rental items directly into the recipes right here from the import from catalog, which I'm a huge fan of. I love this import from catalog button. Makes my life so much easier. Whenever I'm working, it makes my life so much easier. Okay, the last one I'm just going to point out here quickly. Well, I'll kind of come back and look at this from the other side. But if I could have done this from a couple of different places, but I'm going to click right here where it says import from catalog. I just want to make a note that we did make some updates on our tags. I don't know if you've seen these updates that we have done on tags, but this ability for you to edit these tags right here, change the colors, they're a lot more user friendly right now. And then as well, we have merged all of the tags so you can see everything from one place. You're not having to pick, is it a global one? It's a contact tag, things like that. It's all going to be in one place. I'm going to look at that on the other side just a little bit, but just pointing out our tag game is improving. It's really good. All right, I'm going to pass it back to Brooklyn. She's going to take us a little further.
Yeah, the tag update is huge. I feel like it's so much more user friendly and it's not so
It is.
complex with the different kinds of tags. It's a tag and you can use it however you need to and it's
Yeah.
available all over the place. So, um, yeah, that one's exciting. So let me share my screen again and we're going to jump back into the workroom. I'm going to go over some updates around the recipes. So, let me share. And then, all right. So some updates around the recipes. There's a few here that I'm going to cover with you all. One is directly replacing the component within the recipe. So this is just a quick action. It is replacing components of the same unit type, but you'll be able to do that by clicking directly into the component, and then you can select a new component. So say we no longer want white roses, so we can switch this out. I can click in here and then I'll be able to select a new component. I'm just going to switch it to the pink hydrangea. This will pull in. You'll notice that the pricing does update, but the quantity remains the same. So we keep some of the information the same because a lot of times that quantity, you're just wanting to switch out, the component itself. The quantity usually will remain the same. So just a note there that if you do want to adjust the quantity, you can always do that. But it will automatically update the pricing for you as well. So just a quick switch. That way you don't have to delete it and then add a new component. You can just swap it out right there by replacing it directly in the recipe. And so another update around recipes is going to be actually on the recipe view. So if I switch over to recipe view, then we made some updates more to just like the interface here. We received some feedback that it was just kind of hard to distinguish the recipes from one to the other, just with the background color. It all kind of blended together. So we're sorry about that, but we heard you and we fixed it. So we made some borders around the recipes. They're darker for just more contrast, and then also just kind of defining these recipes a bit more. So they should be clearly, much easier to visually see as you build them out on this view. And I will note that you can swap that as well if you like to work on recipe view. I just showed it on the order tab, but if you want to swap it around to a different ingredient, you can do that and just switch the component again. So works on recipe view or order view, however you like to, work in the orders. And then another update that we have here is I'm going to go back to the portal. Now this, I guess, is not necessarily recipes, but this is an update to our mood board. So one thing that's going to help speed up some time for you all is if you let's add in the inspiration board. I'll just start with a new one. But I'm going to add an inspiration board to my proposal here. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Let me click the pencil to edit. So you can now add multiple photos at once. Prior, it was kind of just a one upload at a time, which I know kind of slowed some folks down. So this will speed up the process. You'll just click into select the image, and then it'll pull up your media library. And then you'll just see that we have little checkbox here. So you can go in and select whatever photos that you would like to include. So I'm just going to pick a few here and then I'm going to add, and then it'll upload them all at once and then it will put them in that order. You of course can go in and then modify it if you want them in a particular order on this board, since it's kind of set into this style. This also works on the masonry grid if you haven't explored that yet as well either. So if you go to the masonry grid and we update this, I'm going to click into the pencil. You can select an image here, and then it's the same concept. You'll see at the bottom it adds up the quantity. So I'm just going to add a few here. This is not the prettiest mood board, so apologies. I'm just selecting to be quick here, but same process. It'll speed up your all's time with adding in those photos. Just click in the media library as you need, and then it will upload them all at once. So yeah, some exciting new things to speed up some processes for you all. And then I guess that's the end of my turn. I'll switch it back to Shannon.
It's funny that Brooklyn says this is not the most beautiful inspiration board, but when we were talking about who would do what, I said, Brooklyn, you know you have to do anything that's aesthetic.
I
Because
have fun
anything
with it.
that
I
I put
enjoy
together is
enjoy
not,
it.
yeah.
Definitely not as good as our attendees on the call, but I like to have fun and pretend.
Uh, Gosh. Okay, well, let me share my screen. We're trucking through it. So let me share my screen again. I love it. I will say that we've had a lot of people chat and say that they really love features or that something is really great. Thank you so much for that. We love to see that on the other side. We do spend a lot of time ensuring that we're documenting all feedback that comes through to us, whether it comes through chat, even here, we make sure that any sort of feedback that we have gets passed and just classified all appropriately so that we can make sure that we are tackling the things that are going to make the biggest impact in our customers' lives and pushing those things forward. So, a lot of the things that we build is direct thank you to our customers for telling us, just tell us what you want, because we want to know those things. We are very much a customer-led company. So please do give us that feedback. Thank you for that feedback. And these features are really thanks to feedback that we've heard from our customers. So, okay. So just a few more features for us to look at. I know we have some questions, so we'll kind of go through those more. The other one that I want to look at, much awaited feature, is this rentals range report. So for anybody that's using rentals in here, if I go in here and I can go look at my rentals range report. So if you came from Curate Classic, you're probably familiar with what that looked like over there. It's better in the updated system. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to go in here. We have kind of some random data in here. So I'm going to go way back on my report. I do, that's probably too far back, but you can see that you do have those quick pull things in here as well. If you're looking for just like a quick timing. But I'm just gonna pull a range of timing so that I can make sure to capture as much as I can. This is the rentals range report. So anything that you have marked as a rental, here's that mobile bar that we were working with earlier. What it's going to do is it's going to show you the inventory item, and it's going to show you how many do I have in inventory or what do I have marked as inventory, and what are the events that has those rental items in there. So you can see that I've got this black mobile bar. If I click on that drop down, you can see that I've added it for this McKinsey's retro wedding, which it's not true. I didn't need 3.5. But for the San Diego Wine and Culinary Center, I did pull in one of those items for that event. And you can see that for all of these. Where do I have a moon gate assigned? Where do I have this round table? Anything like that. This is going to be a report where you can quickly see a breakdown. Some ways that we see people use this is maybe, it's May. So maybe I'm pulling up Q3, all of my events in Q3. Is there anything that I'm overbooked for that I need to place an order for these items? You can look for that on this report. The next one that I'm going to hit, I'm going to jump down to settings. This is the other side of that tags. So I'm going to jump over to the tag manager. If you have looked at this page at all, in the past, it used to be broken up into a couple of different sections. Now it is just one section, so you can use all tags in all places, which is really great. You can see that you can be really colorful with your tags. You can change that color here, which can be really helpful. We see people use tags in a lot of different ways. So if you're not a tag user, I'm a fan. I'm always trying to sneak in talking about tags, no matter what event that I'm doing or call that I'm doing. Tags are a huge benefit. It's a great way of keeping track of things for your events. We had someone who worked at Curate many years ago, and she always used to call them a virtual sticky note. which it's better than a virtual sticky note, but it's a great way of helping keep things in order, make things quickly accessible, used for filtering and finding things. It's really great. Okay. The next one is going to be unique to people who have multiple branches. So if you're not familiar, in Curate, you can actually manage multiple branches or multiple companies, multiple departments within the same interface. So that's what a branch is. You may have multiple locations of something, you can manage those within the same interface. But now we have the capability for components to be specific to a branch. So I'm just going to go into this satin ribbon, whatever that's in here, click on this pencil icon, and you can see that it's on all of these ones, but I may not need it on the Smells Like Home, so I can remove it just so it's on the Bloomco and the New City Creation and Decor. So you can make branch specific components for anybody that may have multiple branches. That's a big change there. And then for Curate payments, so I will just give a quick update on Curate payments. Um, if you have not already, I don't think that we've toggled it on for everybody just yet, but if you are interested in using Curate payments, just let us know, reach out to our team. And this is where we'll pass those card fees or those processing fees along to your customers. So we've got the native Stripe integration. That's where you're going to absorb those card fees or handle those card fees in another way. Curate Payments is going to allow you to, whenever they click the Pay Now button, it's going to add those fees on top of that, so that you're not absorbing those fees. Those are being passed on to your customers if they choose to pay with a card. You can also allow ACH payments, which is a lower processing fee if you do ACH payments too. So that's something with Curate Payments. Just reach out to our team if you'd like to get that toggled on for your account so that you have access to that. Then the last one that I'm going to show off right now is something that's updated in the users. So I'm going to use Zach as my example right here. But if you have a user, if you've got multiple users, you've got two different roles. You've got the admin, so that's access to more, basically everything. But then if you move them to a user role, say that you have someone on your team that they have a very limited scope, they don't need to see or do everything in the account, they just need to see the things that they need. So you can mark them as view only, that way that they can view anything that they may need, but not make any changes. But the other piece that was recently released is this edit component cost in recipes right here, where you can toggle that on or off so that they cannot change the costs of components whenever they're building out recipes. So that's a new one that we know a few people will be really excited about seeing that that is coming to pass. Okay, Brooklyn, I'm going to pass it over to you and you can take us home.
Alrighty. Well, this is a big one. I hope everyone's excited. Um, we're going to be talking about the questionnaires and then being able to upload images. So, I think I saw someone maybe in the chat mention that they were hoping to cover this. So, if you haven't discovered it on your own, this is a recent release. We now have the option for you to include an image upload in your inquiries. So, this is just a form that I created. So you'll go into your forms. You can either add it to a already created form or build out a new one. But when you go to add that new question type, it's just called image upload. And so when you select that, you can, of course, add in the question label that you'd like to around that. You can require it or not. But what that looks like for your all's users or your clients, when they go to fill out your form, they'll be able to fill in all the details as usual. But there's now this space here for them to upload their photos. So I'm going to just hit browse. I'm going to select these pictures here. So it goes up to 5 images per question. So you'll be able to allow them to add up to 5 at a time. You could potentially add, multiple image questions if you want to, up to you. But here they're going to be able to upload those. Then when they submit the form, this will go through. We'll go back to our inquiries, we'll be able to see Savannah's form here that got submitted. You'll be able to preview those so we can see those photos that I just attached to the form. And then when you convert it, you'll be able to access these photos within the event. So let me convert this over and then we'll say this is Savannah's wedding. Pulls in all the details around from the form. I'm going to convert that. We'll go and view the event. And then however you'd like to use those photos, whether they're, in the cover and the inspiration board, in the line item, you access these through the media library. So I'm going to hit select image. It will create a new folder. It'll be called the event name that you added when you converted the event. So I called this Savannah's wedding. It has the event date for me with the time. So if I click into this folder, we will see those photos that were attached to the form. So then I can select and choose however I'd like to use those throughout the event. They'll populate here, but then I can again add those throughout the event as I'd like to. I don't want to give too much away, but I know coming soon because I'm sure someone's going to ask. We do have the drag and drop feature. It is in the work, so be on the lookout. It is something that we're currently working on so that you'll be able to drag and drop those photos like you might be used to, using from the form photos. So we do have that on our radar, and we'll be excited to announce that to you all soon once that's released. We'll probably cover that next meeting, but I know our curator success team does a great job as well as sending out some updates along the way between these meetings. So that's one in particular that I know is quite exciting for folks. So that's the big one. I guess I kind of forgot to mention, so let me pull it up. There was another update on the form as well. And this one is regarding multiple choice. So prior, when we had multiple choice, if you'll remember, if you added that to your form, they're almost like little like bubble selections. So if you had a lot of multiple choice options, it kind of took up some extra space on your form. So it was requested as some feedback, to reduce down kind of that question type to not take up so much space on the form or make your forms really long. It's now a drop down. So if you have multiple choice, you'll have your customers click into it and then they'll be able to select what they'd like to this way. So sorry, I meant to do that when I when I submitted the form originally, but that's the other update that we have around the form, is just kind of improving that experience around multiple choice. And then, yeah, that's what I have. So I will stop sharing here and I'll pass it back to Shannon to go over a few final things.
Hey, um, hey, perfect. Um, I'm gonna grab somebody's question so I don't forget it a little bit later. So I have a few updates that I'm not really going to show, but just to kind of put it out there. So for people that may be a QuickBooks Online a user where they're using that integration with QuickBooks Online, just want to note that we did make an update there to where whenever you sync that to QuickBooks Online, it now uses the event date as the invoice date. So we know most event professionals, they're going to be basing it based on the date of exchange of goods, which is the actual event date. So that is going to be the invoice date whenever you sync that to QuickBooks. So that's one update. And then we've made some updates to the QuickBooks integration. So if you've had some stuff there, just some very niche little pieces, we've made some updates with that to kind of help. And then if you're a Galley user, an update that we made, if you're using the Galley integration, is we added the event ID to the name of the event whenever we're sending that over to Galley. So just to provide a little bit more clarification whenever we're sending those events over to Galley. So those are a few that we're really not gonna, I just didn't want to demonstrate, but I did want to note because we have some people that are heavy users and I want to make sure that you have access to those things. So, okay, that was a lot. I feel like we covered a lot. You guys are amazing. You did such a good job interacting and such good questions to add in here. I have a few more questions to follow up with. Please throw in any questions in here. We can show off any sort of features or answer any questions that you may have. The first one, I'll go ahead and say Amy. Amy asked, is this available for mid-level subscriptions? And I'm not sure, Amy, you may just tell that one for um tell me which feature that you're talking about there, because I wasn't watching when that came through, so I'm not sure which one we were talking about in that moment. So if you just want to let us know what feature you're talking about there, then we can answer that for you. Someone asked, does the activity tab now work like the old Curate, showing when proposals were sent, opened, etc.? So yes, in the activity tab, it should be able to show whenever you share that proposal or whenever the public link was opened there. I will say that it's not one to one with Curate Classic. I think that we still have some room for improvement there with the ease of functionality with Curate Classic, but it does actually show whenever you sent emails over to customers as well as any time that the public link was open. So that can show some tracking as well. A lot of people like to use that in Curate Classic for saying, did my customer even look at this link? You can know if they open the public link, then yes, they did look at that. They did look at that quote. So, yes, you should be able to use that one. Okay, perfect. No problem, Amy. Just let us know. Then the other one was that we found that we frequently want to add text to the document content section. That's a great thought. Maybe just give us a little bit more there, Sarah, for what you're thinking. Is it just like maybe if it's a description or just more text? I'm going to kind of pull that up right now and take a look and see what that looks like. Send us over more information about that, and we'll make sure that that feedback. Oh, gotcha. Just a small description down there. That's great feedback. That's great feedback. We'll make sure that that gets added. That's great. Okay, perfect. Well, that's it for today. We covered a lot of features for updated in the system. Feel free to send over any questions, anything else that you want to explore or get more information on. We're happy to go over any of those things. Just know whenever you're in Curate, if you need help, reach out to our support channel, reach out to our the support team via your chat. We do have that FinBot that can answer a lot of questions actually, but feel free to just speak with a team member. We're always happy to help. I will share the product board link. And so if you want to submit your feedback directly to our portal where our team works through those, you can submit that feedback there. You're going to see those news updates on a weekly basis in your little chat bubble. But I'm going to send over a recording of our call for today and just join us next month if you want to join again. Let us know if you have any questions or anything like that. We love doing this, showing these things off. Please do share any feedback or anything like that that we can help you with. All right. You guys are wonderful. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.